Claire is our only child together, and June and I are no longer married. We ended our marriage amicably after I lost my work due to the worldwide crisis. She wanted someone who could provide her and Claire with the lifestyle they deserved, according to a message I found in the vacant house when I returned home. The constraints on court proceedings meant that I didn't see Claire for a while. Nevertheless, I was fortunate enough to emerge from the global crisis during that period in better financial health than when I entered it. With half of my kid now under my custody, I'm attempting to make up for missed time. This implies that, now that the world is open again, we may do whatever Claire wants, as long as she does well in school and helps out with her duties when she spends the weekend with me. Typically, attractions like local festivals, theaters, museums, and national parks are mentioned. When I arrived at my daughter's school yesterday to pick her up, June and her spouse were waiting and wanted to talk to me. They claimed that the companies he formerly owned suffered greatly during the global crisis and have never fully recovered, forcing them to drastically reduce their way of living, which includes June finding employment. Then they told me June was expecting, and they didn't want my overindulging Claire to ruin the bond between the two children because they couldn't do the same for their own child. I assured them that Claire was a wonderful child who deserved to be recognized for her good behavior, and that I had no plans to alter the way I raised her. From there, the conversation took a turn for the worse, with June finally yelling at me that I was just some damn Disneyland dad retaliating against her with his money. I didn't believe I was wrong at the time. After speaking with my partner and a few acquaintances in the field of child education, I'm still unsure if I made a mistake by creating tension between my daughter and her half-sibling. Not the fool. Heh. She left you due to financial difficulties, and now she faces financial difficulties with her new spouse. Whenever her daughter spends time with you, she is constantly reminded of her past actions. Well done for not letting your ex's bad choices dictate how you raise your daughter. Remind her that you are merely providing Claire with the lifestyle she merits. Well done, small-minded, and just what she hurled at you. Because her mother believed the grass was greener, but it was actually astroturf. Opie's daughter ought to suffer. Why should the financial health of your daughter's mother and stepfather cause you and your daughter to suffer? Years will also pass before the newborn infant understands that its half-sister receives care in addition to itself. I concur. Your daughter's half-sibling will likely be an adult by the time she can comprehend why you favor your daughter. Because the children in blended families have multiple parents and grandparents with varying incomes, there will always be some inequality. Remember that anything you buy your daughter that she brings to her mother's house that the other kids can use, especially gadgets, will give her headaches. Your daughter can be forced to share it by your wife and her husband. I was just wondering how soon after divorcing you June married her new husband. It appears that the whole "you can't give us the lifestyle" thing was merely a lie to get married to this new man she believed to be wealthy. However, she seemed to have taken the phrase "for richer or poorer" seriously when it came to you, didn't she? Karma is a witch. It's very unfortunate for June, and you sound like a wonderful father. You deserve longer time with your girl in custody, therefore I hope you get it. The new baby's father's inflated ego about being the lesser provider, plus the fact that the child will grow up and ask some difficult questions that she won't be prepared to honestly respond to, are what I believe the ex-wife is actually terrified of. It seems your ex is regretting the decisions she made in life. My dad married Erica 3 years ago, and after their marriage, Erica moved in with Liv, her pre-tween daughter. In addition, Erica is a mother of 3 children with one partner, 2 with another, and Liv with a third. Erica reportedly had a long-term relationship with Liv's father, and she cheated on both of her previous partners with Liv's father. Thus, Erica's other children despise Liv, her father, and Erica. It is always evident when they are around, as I have only met them a few times. They call Liv a fair baby in front of her face, tell her she shouldn't have been born, make fun of her, and say things to make her cry. Since Erica doesn't want to inform her, Liv is unable to understand why they despise her and hasn't understood what they mean by the remarks about the affair baby. Liv is also informed by Erica's other children about how awful her father is, how he didn't even want her, and how he's the worst person alive, which implies that she must be utterly repulsive and unlovable. I suppose Erica can't do much because her other kids don't see her very much, but she is aware of what they say. There's a lot of messy stuff going on there, since her 3 elder children are, I believe, older than me. My dad and Erica encouraged me to step up and treat Liv like my sister after they were married. They want me to develop a sisterly bond with Liv, but I'm a compassionate, almost grown-up woman. I told them that was not how I felt about her. I occasionally let Liv watch films with me or play video games with me, but they insisted that I put in more effort when they called me. They told me that the only way to ensure that Liv and I never returned to her just being my stepsister was to do more, so I explained that I didn't have that sibling bond with Liv. I told them this, and they said nothing more except that you are all that she has, and she is all that you have. I'll be moving out of the house in the autumn to attend college. My dad has urged me a few times not to bring up the subject with Liv. Liv has become rather close to me and expressed her desire for her other siblings to get along with her rather than despise her. It breaks my heart to hear her refer to me as her best friend, call me simply her sister, and wish we could spend all of our time together. I'm not intending on returning to Dad's on a frequent basis. I won't be living in the dorm my entire time in college, thus she won't be able to sleep in my dorm for my freshman year. But I also don't really want to promise her that she can visit when I move into an apartment. I discussed all of this with Dad and Erica, and despite the fact that I will be relocating on June 19th, they refused to let Liv know I was leaving. I informed Liv I was moving out and wouldn't be here the other day when she tried to ask me to do things with her all summer. When I moved out, she said we could have sleepovers, but I told her that wouldn't work. Erica became really unhappy and told me that I was supposed to be the sister who never let her down. Dad claims I ignored them. Am I the foolish one, not the fool? What did Liv's mother and your father anticipate? That on June 19th you would pack your luggage, and then what? Would they continue to inform Liv that you will return tomorrow? By preventing Liv from starting a life on her own, without siblings, they are not doing her any favors. There are plenty of kids in the world that have quite content lives. Children can have fulfilling lives without a sibling bond. Rather than wishing for relationships that are unlikely to materialize, Liv ought to be given the freedom to live her own life and form healthy bonds with her parents' children, if and when they arise. What in the world made your dad wed this woman? How in the world are they attempting to force this all on you? I'm not sure it would be worthwhile to make any kind of long-term plans with Erica being in a stable place, because she sounds like a true piece of work. It's abusive and lazy what she's doing, Opie, building up all of Liv's hopes and goals around you with Dad's assistance. That's right. Nowadays, being able to recognize patterns is such an uncommon skill. Opie's father seems to believe that his son is unique and that she would never cheat on him, despite the fact that she has already cheated on 2 of her baby daddies with the 3rd. What a maroon, to use Bugs Bunny's iconic words. My wife Annie, who was 26 years old, passed away more than a year ago, when our 2 kids were still in toddler and preschool years. She was only 25. I have been where my children are, having lost my own mother when I was 5 years old, and my heart hurts for them, for me and for Annie, who yearned to be here for our children so badly. The fact that history was repeating struck her deeply because she had lost her own father when she was 6 years old. I promised her, to myself, and to our kids before it was all over, that I would not make the same mistakes that her mother and father had. My dad and I haven't been close since, but after Annie passed away, he messaged me to say he hoped I could understand him better and give him some grace for everything. I was in the most acute form of sadness at the time, therefore I didn't reply to him. I'm in therapy right now. It's still raw, but I'm trying to find peace in my life. He apologized for his first message and got in touch with me a couple more times. As per his desire, we got together a few days ago. He attempted to convince me that I should move on and find new love after realizing that I was still in mourning and that I was wearing my wedding band. The meeting became tense as a result, and I told him to stop talking about it. At that point, Dad began expressing his desire that I would understand why he had remarried so quickly after my mother passed away, why he was content with his second wife, and why he believed I needed a mother in the same way that he was certain my children did. I should have known better by now, but I despised him for being happier and loving his second wife more. I should be aware that life must move on and that it's okay to wish to embrace someone completely different. Being a parent who is widowed should have made me realize how foolish it was to hate him for as long as I did. I informed him that wasn't how it worked, and it just made me see his behavior with even more disdain. Hearing this, he was astonished. I told him Annie was the love of my life when he wondered how I would find someone else to love me and the kids if I was still infatuated with her. Different from Annie, I informed him, my children are the other two loves of my life. It's my responsibility to provide them with the greatest life I can, safety, stability, and love. I vowed not to tell my little children, who still need to grow up and accept a new mother, that their mother has passed away. My new spouse is not happy when I scold at my children for crying for their mother. I informed him that I am not seeking to adopt them. My goal is to give them the best possible dad experience and make the most of this awful existence we've been given. I told him that I loved someone else far more than I ever loved their mother, and that I would never treat them badly as he treated me. I told him that while I could understand your need to grieve and concentrate on yourself, you shouldn't harm your kids by attempting to forget the parent they adore. After he labeled me a moron, I walked away, wondering if I had been too harsh. Am I the foolish one? You know it, buddy, that I'm not the idiot. You owe your children the finest version of yourself, as you stated, but you owe him nothing. It takes a lot of courage for your father to approach you and offer grief counseling, while also implying that he loves his new wife more than your mother. That is obviously wicked. I'm sorry for all the suffering you've gone through. It says volumes that Op's dad's first message to him after his wife passed away was essentially a "I told you so" kind of message. Some individuals go through pain, and it makes them more empathetic, and others go through pain, and they decide nobody should ever admit it hurts because it hurts for them. You have peace, my friend. Even after all these years, your father continues to view himself as the victim. He was a harsh person because it fit him. Though you were honest, you weren't unkind. You are using your authority to protect your children, while he used his to denigrate you. Loser's number dad could be self-centered. Until he has something constructive to offer you and your kids, keep your distance. My girlfriend and I have been together for about 3 years. She had not spoken to an old acquaintance in a while until a few months ago, when she resumed her conversation. After they had a few beers together, my girlfriend encouraged me to join them so I could get to know her. Everybody gets along great. The ex-boyfriend of my girlfriend messaged her rather recently, despite the fact that they have not communicated in years. My girlfriend informed me of it and inquired as to whether I felt comfortable with her response. I informed her that although I thought it was strange, I trusted her, so she was free to respond if she so desired. Her friend and I share similar tastes in TV series, films, and video games, so we got together for drinks a few more times. I told my girlfriend that her acquaintance had added me on social media. I know a couple of my girlfriend's pals on social media, so it's not strange. She texted me about a TV show that she and I both liked that was on. I responded to my girlfriend after telling her this. We've exchanged messages on TV shows, films, and other topics. My girlfriend informed me that she feels that I should stop talking to my friend because she finds it strange. She simply responded that I shouldn't be messaging her buddy when I inquired what she thought was wrong with it. She refused to offer me an explanation when I asked for one. I believe she's being hypocritically by becoming upset with me for messaging a buddy when I mentioned that she's been messaging her ex-boyfriend. She stated that it's not the same, and I ought to quit chatting with her friend. I declined and made another attempt to get her to clarify what she believed to be incorrect. She just stated that it's about respect and that I should pay attention to what she had to say. Am I the moron for calling out my girlfriend's duplicity and for continuing to speak with a friend? Op, get hitched so you can get rid of her quickly. No, better yet. Go through couples counseling first, discover that you genuinely detest each other, get married, maintain your pre-divorce, and argue over who gets to retain the fanny blender. I appreciate you making me smile. Not the fool. She is clearly projecting, and it is hypocritical. I don't think she wants you to know what she's chatting to her ex about. The next time she brings it up, look her in the eyes and suggest that you switch phones right away so that you may read your conversations with the friend, and she can read yours with the ex. This will allow her to read your messages with the friend while you have time to prepare for it. She can tell you all you need to know with her instant reaction, without even providing you with an actual answer. However, be ready for her to try sidestepping the subject like it's something from the Matrix. In your position, I would even go so far as to say that attempting to back out or run away in order to buy some time before agreeing later, after erasing so much that it would be as if she had simply reset the phone, will be interpreted as her consent to end the relationship. After 6 years of dating, my 32-year-old wife Michelle and I, a 34-year-old man, were wed for 4 years. Michelle also has a 34-year-old sister named Sharon. Since Sharon and I shared similar interests, we were good friends growing up. We engaged in the same hobbies together, and she had an interest in sports. We were almost best friends, and because we were so similar, I thought of her more as my own sister, or as an extension of myself. In college, we even pursued the same topic of study. We dated a lot of different people, but we never dated one another, as we were similar to siblings. Since their sister Michelle was 2 years younger than me and we didn't get along, I never really spoke with her when we were teenagers. But there was a tension and a kind of romantic connection that developed between us a few years after Michelle graduated from college. That's when we started chatting more frequently. We dated for a few years before getting married, shortly after I asked her out. We now have 2 kids as well. Sharon thought we were meant to be together, and was really delighted for us both throughout this whole ordeal. Sharon invited me to her flat a few months ago because she wanted to have a serious conversation. She essentially acknowledged that she had been misguided about her feelings for me for a long time. She was sobbing uncontrollably and stated that she had no one else to talk to about this, and that she didn't want to ruin Michelle's and my lives. I always assumed Sharon saw me as a brother, so the whole situation came as a huge surprise. I assured Sharon that I would keep this a secret from Michelle, since it would severely damage their bond as siblings and the dynamics of the whole family. I also assured Sharon that although I would always be available to listen, she needed to seek therapy in order to deal with these emotions. We've stayed apart since Sharon began internet counseling. Nevertheless, she visits me from time to discuss how her therapy is going. Am I the one acting foolishly in this situation? Oh man, this little secret is going to blow up in your face if your wife finds out that you withheld it from her. She's going to assume the worst. Do you not believe that she merits your candor? Why do you support your sister over your wife with such fervor? If you withhold this from her, you are the foolish one. Indeed, my friend, I kept thinking that the entire time I was reading. Being the one she confides in is also a bad choice. By hiding things from his wife and putting himself in a position where the sister can influence him, he is betraying her confidence. He entertains her and lets her use him as an emotional support system. Yet she's in treatment because she has feelings for him. It's a very foolish move.